19 minutes past the hour here on the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. This is our Market Fresh Hour, and great to have you with us as always. Hope your holiday season is going well thus far with plenty of celebrating with family and friends. You know, for the past month or so, we've been trying to use this segment of our show to give you tools in this area, in the hosting area for celebrating. Specifically food and recipe options, as well as ways to keep your diet in balance, if that's possible this time of year, right? Today, we're going to take a look at a seasonal dish put together in the kitchen of Chef Ryan Hernandez, the man behind the incredible winter menu at Sidecar restaurant in downtown San Luis Obispo. We'll get as far through the recipe as we can during this segment, but I think we can do it. So let's get right to the topic at hand. Hey, Ryan, thanks for joining us on Market Fresh and allowing our cameras into your kitchen.
Hey, thanks, Randall, for having me on.
So what are you going to show us how to cook today?
Today we're going to start out with our house-made rabbit pappardelle, which is very much of the season. You know, it's very wintry and it's comforting. So we're going to start out with our house-made fresh pasta that we do. And over here I got for you, start out with about 4 cups of flour here, 6 eggs, and if you've ever made pasta before, you know that that's pretty much all it consists of unless you're flavoring your pasta. You make the well, you make the dough, and over time then you end up rolling out the pasta. As today's pappardelle, it's not going to be fettuccine or small, it's going to be thick noodles, which in the end it comes out looking like this. And this is some of the fresh pasta we have that I've made today, actually.
And for our radio listeners, it's an incredibly thick band of fettuccine?
Yeah, it's
wider.
Wider. I wouldn't call it thick. It's very thin, but it's wide, correct. So that's just a simple egg noodle, as we call it. And we're going to go ahead and go over here. I'm going to show you that we have some of the rabbit that we've already braised right here in our braising liquid. And our braising liquid also over here, as you can see, has all the herbs. It's got the rabbit bones still in there, consistent with all the flavor that keeps it pretty much amazing. So we're going to use that and the fresh pasta. And we're going to start out with...
Hey, Ryan, if people really aren't into eating rabbit or they can't find rabbit at their local store, is there another meat that could work equally as well in this recipe?
As easy as most people, contrary to popular beliefs, say rabbit and chicken taste the same, they don't, but I would say that you could definitely use chicken instead. That'd be a great substitute, much more comforting and much more practical for someone who doesn't really want to wander out or use rabbit.
For those who have never tried rabbit, myself included, how would you describe the taste?
If I had to compare, which I don't like to compare things to other flavors because rabbit tastes like rabbit, it has a consistency and the flavor a lot like turkey, I'd say.
All right, I'll let you continue with our lesson today. What's next?
Awesome. We got some fresh garlic over here, which I love to put fresh garlic in everything. So as the pan's getting hot over here, we're going to go ahead and use some of the fresh chanterelle mushrooms that we have here.
Chanterelles are in season right now?
Correct, they are. It's a little more in season so far when it's raining, and as you know, it hasn't been raining that much lately, but we can still get them because they're usually available year-round.
I love mushrooms as an addition to so many dishes, especially chanterelles.
Go ahead and give those a quick little saute. Very hot pan. Mushrooms love heat, they love high heat, and they love pepper, so we're going to go ahead and give them plenty of both of those. A little fresh garlic here for you.
Any special type of pepper you're using?
Peppers? Oh, just ground black pepper.
Oh, okay.
They love fresh ground black pepper and high heat.
How long will you keep these mushrooms in the pan?
We're only looking at from a beginning to end to start to finish about a six-minute time from beginning to end.
6 minutes for the whole dish?
For the whole dish. That's all it takes. It's pretty quick. It's a little more to build up to be able to break everything down individually, but once all the ingredients are ready, it's pretty quick.
So the ingredient preparation is where you'll invest most of your time for this one.
Definitely. It's a very quick execution, so it's easy. The great thing about it is once we're making the pasta, as I showed you over there, it's fun to do with friends, as you can make and probably have some glasses of wine or with family, and it's a good time usually rolling out your own house-made pasta.
Would you say pasta is certainly one of those ingredients that most people buy dry, but making it fresh is far easier than we think?
Of course. It's extremely easy to make and very cost-effective, as opposed to you could probably make triple the amount of pasta you would buy in the store for about half the price. So, and if you've ever had fresh pasta or you haven't, I would say fresh pasta and dry pasta are two different realms, and if you haven't had fresh pasta, you probably never really had pasta.
What's that you threw in with the mushroom flamed up like that, Ryan?
I threw a little white wine in there to deglaze the pan. We're going to go ahead now add our rabbit braising liquid, and this is the braise that we cook the rabbit in, so it has all that residual flavor of the rabbit.
Is that basically water and some fresh winter vegetables?
It's the rabbits. Yeah, we took a mirepoix, carrot, onion, celery, and some garlic. Cook that down. You put the rabbit body. You put the rabbits in there, and you cook it with some water. Actually, chicken, or we make a stock with it, which so ends up being a rabbit stock, really. And you get all the good flavor from all the bones and whatnot. That all cooks down over time, thickens up, and you get all that great rabbit flavor. It's really rich and really good.
People might have a turkey carcass in their freezer right now, which rabbit, it could be used the same way that the rabbit's used in the dish.
They really could. You could do that. It might almost be somewhat the same flavor profile. I mean, it's not rabbit, but definitely an easy way to reuse some of that stuff that you have left over from Thanksgiving, as we all know we still do. And while that's going, I'm going to go ahead and talk about something else we have on one of our other dishes. We use a pumpkin hash we use here on our sous vide pork chop. Hash pretty much consists of mostly of onions, some root veggies, some potatoes, garlic, and pretty much make a hash out of anything. This one also includes pecan, so that's kind of nice. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that as well, why we have our rabbit going over there.
So this is a pumpkin hash. When I think of hash, I often think of corned beef and potato mixture, but I guess the term is much broader than that.
It is. You usually think, potatoes. And we have our potatoes here, but it's going to be a little bit different here with our fresh pumpkin that we use since it's in season, and it's a nice wintry little dish going on.
Sounds good, Ryan. And on the pumpkin note, should you skin them or leave the skin on?
I would recommend skinning them, definitely.
All right.
So as we have, we got our pumpkin right here, and as you might think, this would be the pumpkin you would think. Those are actually yams. So the pumpkin's a little more yellow than it is orange.
So Ryan is showing us containers holding the prepared ingredients, and you can see one indeed very dark orange, while the other is a much lighter yellow color. The darker one being sweet potato, the lighter one looks like yellow squash, but of course pumpkin is part of the squash family after all.
Correct, it is. We're gonna go ahead and hit that with just a dab of cream over here in that rabbit, just to bring a little body into it. At that point as well, we're gonna go ahead and add in our rabbit that we already braised, bring that back up to heat, which in that same time, the great thing about our fresh pasta is that unlike dried pasta, it only takes about a minute in the boiling water.
I like that.
Sweet.
So here we go, we have our boiling water going there in the back. We're gonna go ahead and drop our pasta right in there.
And the big danger with pasta is overcooking it, right?
Definitely. You don't want to overcook it. It gets really mushy, and all that hard work kind of goes to waste. So like I said, you kind of check it and make sure it doesn't feel too mushy, too slimy. It's just about right. You don't want to eat this al dente like you would a lot of other pastas or risottos, but when it's perfect, I mean, there's just nothing like it. So
Excellent.
So now you're getting the oil nice and hot in the other pan where you're going to saute the remaining ingredients.
Over here for the pumpkin hash?
Yeah, pumpkin
Yeah,
hash.
pumpkin hash. We're going to go ahead and start with the potatoes as you always, since you want some nice color on those. Just put a couple in there, get that nice and sizzling. Check on our pasta over here. It's about, I'd say 20 seconds from being done.
Chef Ryan, if your kitchen timing skills aren't as sharp as some others and your pasta is ready to go way before any of the other parts of your dish, what's a good holding pattern for it so that it doesn't become mushy?
The pasta, I would recommend pulling out maybe just a little bit early because you don't want it to sit and you don't want it to overcook. But it's always good to pull it out a little bit early and add it to your ingredients here to let it soak up most of that rabbit flavor.
It's all seriously looking really good. Just so you know, you can get the ingredient list and recipe instructions online at eatdrinkexplore.com. Just look under our recipes section. We'll also post links on Facebook and Twitter. Username eatdrinkexplore. If you're not a fan of whipping things up in the kitchen, you can taste how Chef Ryan prepares these dishes by visiting Sidecar Restaurant in downtown San Luis Obispo.
We're gonna go ahead and add in some pea tendrils for some color.
I'm seeing pea tendrils used more often. They're just the leaves of the pea vine?
Correct. They definitely have more value than just the peas and the pods. It's really good. And here we go, we're add our pasta here.
Mixing that too into the ragu.
They're very good green. They're not very hearty, but they're very clean flavored and almost have a nuttiness to them.
Well, it looks fantastic. Chef Ryan, thanks for joining us on Market Fresh today. We'll look forward to hanging out with you in the kitchen again sometime at a future date.
Definitely. Thank you, Randall, for having us on.
And we're back in just a moment.